Greetings, and welcome to the DoubleTake demonstration to DoubleTake full server to Hyper-V protection. In this short video, we're going to show you how easy it is to protect a Windows machine into Hyper-V utilizing DoubleTake Availability. So let's go ahead and get started. What I have in my environment, I have a Windows 2012 R2 machine here, that R2-1, that I have in a vSphere environment on an Intel platform that I've installed DoubleTake on and put a DoubleTake Availability license on it. What I also have is I have a Hyper-V server, CCHV5 here, that is Windows 2012 R2 as well, and put DoubleTake Availability on it as well. At this point, I'm ready to create my protection. In DoubleTake 8, the console looks a little bit different. I have it running on a third machine here, but we actually have context-sensitive search now. We also have first-time user tips. If you want that, you can get that by saying help and show getting started tips here, and of course you can close that out if you are familiar with the console. And we got rid of the getting started button. What we have now is right clicking the server and you can say protect. My only option is to protect because I have DoubleTake Availability. If I had moved, my only option would be to migrate. I'm immediately taken to the job selection page, which skips several steps that we used to have in 7.1, which allows me to get protected faster. Today we're doing the full server to Hyper-V protection. You select that one, all the volumes on the right hand side are selected, so if I had a D, E, and F, those would be selected and I can deselect those volumes if I wanted to. I can also modify the replication rules specifically by folder, file, or by wildcards if I wanted to. However, I want to get everything, so I'm just going to click next and go to the target. At this point, it's going to show me all the machines with DoubleTake Availability on them. However, once I select the Hyper-V machine, that's when it's going to lead me down the DoubleTake for Hyper-V protection workflow. If you don't see your server, click Find a New Server and enter in the IP address for the server name, and you go to your set options page. Not going to go through all the options here with DoubleTake Availability. There's many of them. I would highly recommend hitting F1 once you get to the options page. You'll get detailed information about all the job options and what they can do for you so you can make the best decisions for your organization. The first thing I want to go to here is Replica Virtual Machine Configuration. By default, we're going to take whatever the source was, 1 processor, 4 gig of RAM, and we're going to make that on the replica. However, you can scale up or down as needed, which is quite nice. You can specify what gen of Hyper-V machine you want to create, Gen 1 or Gen 2, and then of course you can specify the Hyper-V network. You can set a VLAN if you want to on all that stuff. So you can really customize the machine. You can specify where you want the virtual machine volumes to be. By default, it's going to put it on the first non-boot system volume, which is my D drive. Notice it's a SCSI storage controller because I have a Gen 2 machine. I can do dynamic, I can do fixed, and also I can increase or decrease the size of the disk. My recommendation is if you want to utilize snapshot technologies, you may want to make this disk a little bit bigger because that's where we're going to store the snapshots. So I would make this a little bit bigger so you'll have space for all your snapshots to be stored while you're in the protecting state. Replica Virtual Machine Network settings, by default, we are going to take the source's IP information. That's that 14.40 to 14.50. However, I can say use advanced settings and specify whatever network and IP addresses that I want, especially if my Hyper-V server is on a different subnet. Test failover is a great feature with the full server to Hyper-V. We can connect and map network adapters on test failover. You can specify a different virtual switch to map that to, a different VLAN to map that to, so you could test that and automatically connect to those test networks. Under failover identity, if I was going to change the virtual machine network settings, a good thing to do here would be to update DNS. We can do that automatically for you if it's a Microsoft Active Directory integrated zone, so you would simply update the DNS server under failover identity. We also have other options such as specifying the network route. You could put in a public IP address if you had a one-to-one NAT, but you can also even change the ports because we have port forwarding in DoubleTake 8. You can set your snapshot schedule, compression, bandwidth, all sorts of stuff like that, and we even have encryption available in a server property. Once you're done with your settings, click Next and you're taken to our job summary screen. The job summary screen is a pre-flight checklist to make sure that the Hyper-V environment is ready for these servers to be created, that the source and the Hyper-V server can communicate, and if everything's good, you're going to see all these white check marks in a green circle, and you're going to have the option to finish. If you see any warnings or errors, you can click on those and get more information, and maybe we'll be able to fix it. I've clicked Finish, and I'm immediately taken to my Jobs page here. My job is created, and it's actually creating the virtual machine within Hyper-V right now, creating the VHD or VHDX files in this example. It's attaching those VHDX files to the Hyper-V server as a mount point, and then it's going to start mirroring and replicating into that mount point after it partitions and formats it. At any point, I can double-click these jobs and I can get additional information about what's going on. And once the job actually starts and all the virtual machine information is configured, I'm going to be able to edit my job. Maybe I want to change compression or bandwidth, and I can also do that pre-flight checklist at any time. When you have a job, what I would highly recommend to take a look at certain points, especially right before you have to fail over, we have a brand new statistic in DoubleTake 8 called recovery point latency. If this is ever at anything other than 0, that means the source and target are a little bit behind. The source is behind and you don't exactly have the exact same data on source and target. But if it's at 0 and you need to do a failover, you know you're not going to have any data loss. But if you do have something other than 0, then you can make that decision at that point whether or not you want to fail over, because you'll know you maybe will be 5 minutes behind or 10 minutes behind, something like that. The virtual machine has been created. The disk has been created. The disk is mounted. We are now doing our mirroring and replication. Mirroring is a one-time process to make sure the data is in sync. If the data has been preceded, it automatically just looks for differences, so we don't have to send all the data again. If it's not there, we'll send it all. And then that mirroring process ends. However, during that entire time and after the mirror process, we're also replicating the real-time byte-level change on the production system as they occur. This process is going to take a few minutes to complete, and once it completes, we're going to go into that protecting state and we're going to have the ability to fail over. Right now, it's grayed out because I am not in a good state at this point. So what we're going to do is we're going to hang out for a few minutes, allow this to get into that protecting state, and then I'm going to show you a few things. We're going to make some changes to a file share that I have, and then we're going to go ahead and fail over from that vSphere Intel environment to that Hyper-V AMD environment. So our mirror is completed now. It's been just a few minutes and we can fail over at any time because we have that real-time byte level replication keeping everything in sync. If you notice down here, our recovery point latency is still at 0, so the source and target are the same. We can take snapshots if we want to. I can go ahead and do that. When we take snapshots, we are not utilizing the Hyper-V snapshot capabilities. We're actually taking snapshots within VSS on the Hyper-V server itself. That's why you need that little bit of that extra space. Let's go ahead and make some changes to our file system so we can see that in action. I connected to a data share that I have. Let's go ahead and make a copy of a particular folder, and we're going to go ahead and paste that. At the same time, let's go ahead and delete a folder as well. This is generating change that is sent over to the target in real time directly to those VHD or VHDX files on the Hyper-V server. Now that that's done, let's go back to our console and let's go ahead and fail over. When we fail over, we can do that live failover, we could do a test failover, and we saw those options earlier, and also I could fail over to those 2 snapshots that I took. I'm going to go ahead and fail over to live data. The first thing it does, it disconnects DoubleTake between the source and the target, and then it does some processing on the Hyper-V VHDX files to make it bootable, and then it's going to go ahead and shut down production and turn on the replica. All of this happens relatively quickly, and it should be up and running within just a few minutes. I've gone over to my vSphere environment, and we can see there's R2-1. It has now been powered off. But notice there's no recent task because we did the shutdown command within the guest, because we don't need any access to the vSphere environment if that's where you're coming from, because everything happens within the operating system. Let's go over to our Hyper-V environment now, and we can see our replica is running already. We can go ahead and connect to it, and it's now at the login screen. So this was really very quick, and now all the services are starting up, and everything that we had on production in the vSphere environment is now running in our Hyper-V environment. DoubleTake is starting back up, and once the DoubleTake management service starts up, it's on a delayed start, we can go back to our console and we're going to see that it's truly failed over. I've gone back to my console and we can see that right now that it is completely failed over. And let's go ahead and let's check out our file share. I'm back in my file share, and we can see I have that temp 712 copy, the original temp folder's there, exactly what I had before I did the failover, and everything is done. I am now running within my Hyper-V environment. I can stay on that Hyper-V environment as long as I want to. I can also set up another job to go backwards. If I wanted to go back to the vSphere environment, what I would do is delete this job and set up a full server to ESX protection and then fail over again during a maintenance window. If it was anything else, then I could just simply set up a full server protection job going back to the original server and then again failing over during any maintenance window. But for right now, all I need to do is go ahead and delete this job, as there's nothing else for this job to do right now, and I have completely failed over within just a few minutes utilizing DoubleTake Availability. This brings us to the end of the DoubleTake demonstration of DoubleTake Availability full server to Hyper-V protection. To learn more and to stay informed, please give us a call at the number on your screen or visit us at doubletake.com. I'd like to thank you for your time and have a great day.